Okay, so we are continuing on with our underbelly project. This is the water tank area. So you can see here where we've done this upper rail and this lower rail. And this lower rail is actually that little fascia rail, right, that you see hanging underneath the rig. So there we go. This little piece right here is the part that you see kind of hanging underneath the rig. There's that speaker. Anyway, so we have the upper rail that's totally done. It goes all the way back. You can kind of see this is kind of where I was leaving this, because inside each one of these sections here, I'll have another sheet of insulation. I'm not going to be putting the insulation on the other side of this. I had thought about it, but I don't want, this is the lowest part of the rig, so I don't want it to sit down any lower than it already is. I realize that we have, these are either vents or overflows, because there's 4 of them. So they're one or the other. But I don't really want to continue to push this belly down any further. So anyway, to get back to more of what it looks like, I'm trying to roll around on my creeper. And creeper's getting worse. But anyway, you can kind of see back in there that we're fully insulated all the way back there and all the way down this rail. And then this insulation kind of, it butts right up against it. So I've got it shoved in there pretty tight so it butts right up against it. And then all of that you see back in there is kind of all packed into the corner. So kind of see here, basically we're pretty tight. So back here, I wasn't able to get it all the way against the edge. It will go against the edge when I have the other piece in here. But yeah, I tried to tuck it in here as hard as I could. I'll need to trim this a little bit if I want to get any further that way. But you know, we're trying to get it basically right up, like right inside here. As you can see that piece inside. Now, this whole corner, so this is where you're gonna have, you know, one line and then, you know, some small electrical and some hydraulics and stuff like that. So this one was actually really easy to deal with. Had a nice big space in the top, a little bit right in here, and then kind of a space at the bottom. But you can see I kind of really, so what I did was I kind of filled this entire void right here. I kind of stacked the that insulation kind of in here, and then I kind of just slid it around here, kind of created just kind of a cascade around this right here so that it'll actually seal up against it pretty good. That corrugated is going to come around here, like, and this was kind of cut around the corrugated. So what'll end up happening is you know, as that corrugated gets screwed in. Now, on this part right here, kind of rambling on. So this upper part right here is all taped, and then each one of the rails that comes down, so that aluminum piece right there, there's 4 of those along here. So there's one there, one there, one there, and one there. I put like 3 strips of tape on each one to hold this part, right? So you can kind of see that's probably where it's at. Maybe right there. And then it's held up here, because what's going to end up happening is that piece of corrugated is going to come along and it wraps up through here, and then it screws into this edge. So I'm going to have insulation up to about right here, because this is where that rail is. You can see that rail. So the other set of insulation that's going to be on the corrugated will come up to that edge right there. This top lip won't be double insulated, but from that tank down it will be. But then that corrugated will come around. Basically, I just want to be able to go through this one piece, because I won't be able to go through like 2 pieces, because I don't have a long enough screw for that. Even though I was kind of complaining about them in another video. But anyway, so then I kind of punched a hole in there for these so it sits in there nice and tight, but you can kind of see that from here. And we'll have that insulation against the tanks. Let me spin around here. So you can see that insulation kind of coming around like that. And then it'll, with that corrugated up there, it's actually going to be kind of right against those bars like that. And then there'll be another piece right below it. So there won't be anything below these, like underneath these. but there will be another piece inside here, so there'll be kind of two pieces of insulation. One of the reasons why I'm kind of doing that is I'm already kind of fighting an issue here, and I don't think that I'm going to be able to get a whole nother set of insulation in addition to what's going to go here, a whole nother set of insulation in that location, because all these water lines are you know, kind of, this whole thing's kind of a bear over here. I did get this all insulated, and I did get that upper part insulated too, so I do have this void here. But, and then here's your hydraulic jacks and that kind of stuff. And then to put it in perspective, as far as that stacking was concerned, right, this is kind of what I did. Now this one was a little different because they sucked everything to the top, because in addition to the dual fuel lines and the electrical and the hydraulics and the other electrical, and then you have this evap tank and everything else in here, like there was a lot more here to deal with in addition to all of the lines, right? So this side, this whole side right here is way more involved than the other side. And so what I did was inside every little cubby, like inside every one of these little cubbies and everything, I've got like tape, double-sided tape on it, and then I've got it shoved in there to try to block water and wind and anything else coming into this. And then these are all, you can see, I mean, I'm not moving those. They're in there. And then I put, just like the other side, I put an extra piece in here because the tire's right here. So if I'm going down the road and the front of this tire right here is hitting snow, it's going to come up and smack up into this whole area, and it's going to kind of cover this whole zone in like ice, because I already know it gets water right here, right? The tanks are already dirty. I wiped most of it off, but the tanks are really dirty. Everything's really dirty right here. So I know for a fact that this area right here gets a lot of wash. So I tried to compensate for most of that. So when that other piece of insulation comes over this, all this will be encapsulated, and it'll be really heavily insulated, because even if ice is packed in right here, between the other piece of insulation that'll be here, and then again the third piece of insulation that'll be here, this is going to be really protected. So I didn't do that triple stuff along here, but right at the edge, right where that tire is going to be kind of packing it in that corner right there, because after working on this, I can kind of tell that that's kind of where most of the water goes, is in these one corners, that I made sure that they're extra insulated. So if there's water or ice or anything like that when you're driving down the road, your tanks are unaffected. So, okay. And then this is how we did that. So you can see, basically I just kind of slit these and pushed it in around. I put tape on both sides here, so that when I slit this or whatever and I pushed in against that, it sticks right to it. That's how I kind of did that. And then same kind of thing here. This one comes out at an angle. These are a little bit more to deal with. Now these are open. So these pieces here, let me turn this a little bit. So these are 100% open going to the back of the rig, right? Because this is what your axles sit on. You know, the really strong plate and everything. But so I may like foam this and this so that we don't have air blowing back in here. But I also need some kind of like air intake. So I may just leave them alone, because they are, you know, they are fairly long. So the amount of air that's going to go into the back right there, I think, is just going to be kind of more pushed out than it is going to be sucked in. So I think I'm good with it. Other than with the furnace in here, I think it's going to actually draw. But we'll see. Okay, so there it is again. Oh, I need to trim that one. What I've been doing is kind of trimming these and then shoving them back down in there. Like that one. You can kind of see there what I did there. Not doing a real good job videoing, sorry. But, okay, and then again, here's this. I double-sided taped it here. That's why it's stuck there. And then I may trim this last piece off, because I don't necessarily think it's going to be overly needed. I more or less did it so that if it was kind of cold down below here, there was a little bit more to keep that cold from radiating up to the tank. But I'm putting a diesel heater right there. So in the process of that, I don't really think it's going to be a big issue. Now up here by the thunder tube, this one right here, because they put that, you know, that great stuff all around it, right? It kind of creates this really indifferent area. So I tried to do the best I could because I wasn't going to cut it out, but I wanted to make sure that I get all the way around that if I could. So this isn't the prettiest, but that's where the thickest part of that grate stuff is. But it is all the way around that entire area right there, so that'll be good. But that corrugated kind of comes along. It comes along like right here, and then anchors in right here. So, and then those rails go along right here that, you know, they pinch the corrugated down. But, so I don't mind it being right there because it'll kind of block a little bit. Now, I'm going to have to go in and caulk. You know, my favorite thing. I'm going to have to go in and caulk because you can see the daylight through there, which means it doesn't matter what level of insulation you're rocking in here. If you're driving down the road, that cold air is just pouring through these. It'd be like just, you know, having the door cracked on your house and the cold air blowing through. Like you can kind of, I don't know if you can really see that with the phone. But look at that gap. Right, you can see right through it. And I'm looking right there, right above that line, right? So I can kind of see that gap. So I'll be going along and caulking this seam. It gets a lot tighter, like back here, because I shined a light from the other side through there to see how bad it was. Kind of seems like when it gets to like where these tanks are, it's a lot more flush. But up here, I mean, you know, you have one screw here and one screw here, and so this right here has like a little valley in between each one. And then the front up there is probably the worst of it. And then this side here, only that front corner really has a major issue, because as I go through here, this one's actually pretty tight against the frame. So I just need to kind of caulk that little corner and then caulk the first, like, I guess 4 feet of this. And then that should kind of keep most of the air blocked out. I could probably stick another piece of insulation in there, but I'd rather caulk it. That way I don't have water coming in either. This actually won't hold water. It won't hold moisture or anything like that, which is really nice. Another reason why I chose this stuff. But yeah, so that's the progress on this lower part so far. I still have the piece to put here. And then once I get that piece put in here, then I'm going to be working on the diesel heater. So I had thought about maybe using the venting from the main furnace to begin with. That way I didn't have to install some tertiary heater. And I may kind of show you that right now, even though this video is getting kind of long. But see the glue? And I'm not just being a baby about it. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, look at all that. Like I said, there's that plate that they put underneath there because they cut that floor out. Look at that. That's why, you know, if you do have to replace a section of this floor, just know it's going to be a bear, straight bear. But anyway, okay. So I'm going to jump out and kind of show you those vents real fast that I was talking about. But bear with me here. Fire up some lights here. Okay. So underneath this cabinet, you have these two vents. Now these two vents, they put out probably the lion's share of the air volume of this furnace. And then you have this tube. Now that hole that you see in the floor right there, that hole right there is kind of like basically right between a black tank and a gray tank. So that actually goes into that first set of bays. So I actually thought about teeing into this line which just spits out right there at the step. Now there's not a lot of volume that comes out right there, but it does spit out. But I thought about putting a T in here. So a 4-inch line, I thought about just doing like a little 2-inch T and having the 2-inch just dump down in there, but then putting a diffuser on it. So it puts a little bit of heat down there, but doesn't really take away from the upstairs. Like a little, but, and then do the same thing here. Now this is the water tank bay. So when you're looking at this, if I teed into this and cut a hole in the floor, then it would actually kind of blow heat down into the water tank bay. I really kind of thought, you know, this would actually work out really good, but I don't know. Like, I would kind of prefer to take that furnace right there. It's 35,000 BTUs. Maybe replace it with like a 38,000 BTU one. I don't know if it'll fit in the same hole, if they sell anything like that. 40,000 BTU furnace would probably be more optimal. And the only reason I say that is with a 40,000 BTU furnace, I think that, you know, if you were losing 5,000 BTUs to the basement, that would be just enough to maybe, you know, keep it at a certain temperature. Like if it was 35 degrees outside, you know, maybe it would be, you know, 40 in the basement or something. Maybe it would give it a 5-degree temperature rise. But not sure on that. But you can see right here, that's where your electrical is. That's where the cable comes in. And then here's these tubes. These tubes go underneath the fridge and kick out right there. The bedroom hardly gets any air volume at all. The bathroom's not too bad. That's actually pretty nice. And then you have that vent there. I have these drawers taken out. The LED box, which is kind of behind this drawer, I guess. So the LEDs that are underneath here, it's out again. Like, it's already been replaced like twice and it's out again. Like, I don't even know if I'll waste the time with it. Now the LEDs are there, so I may do my own thing with that. Because they go underneath this and then underneath the counter, and it's a nice aesthetic look. It really is. It's kind of cool. But obviously this brand, and maybe it's just me, but this super LEDs or whatever it is that has this, like, you have to replace this and the controller, because you can't program this to a new controller. And you can see, I mean, we just don't use it, you know. Maybe that was a problem. Well, I can't say I didn't use it. We used it. Just whatever. Just another whatever, right? My wife's making fun of me for the whatever thing. But anyway, so I thought about using the vents there to blow into the basement, because one blows directly into the holding tanks and one blows directly into where the water tank is. And then I wouldn't have to do anything with installing a diesel heater. But, you know, I don't know. What do you guys think? Okay, well, I'm going to bounce out of this video because the boss is wanting some attention here. And I will show you guys on the next video whether or not I kind of went with doing the heater vents or just putting the whole heater in. I may do both. But anyway, so, all right. Well, thanks for watching, and you guys have an awesome day.